The channel, guys. Today we're recreating one of our most viewed Scania videos, and that's where we compared the American Cabover to the European Cabover. And what you see behind me right now is a 2025 Scania R770. This is a Swedish built semi truck for all of you that are new here to the videos and don't know what this is. We imported this truck, teamed up with Scania USA, and brought this thing here to tour it around the country. And we're going to be stopping all kinds of places, so make sure you subscribe right now. Smash that subscribe button. And right here behind me is a 2007 Freightliner Argosy, built here. I want to say built in the USA, but it might have been built in Mexico. We're going to have to double check that. But this is the latest and one of the newest cabovers to ever be built and sold here in the USA. So this is the technology we have as far as cabovers go, and the newest cabover we have here in the USA, which you don't ever see anymore. And this is the latest and greatest and the highest, I mean, just out of this world technology European standard truck, which we call cabovers here in the USA, but everywhere else in the world they just call it a lorry or a truck. So we're gonna be comparing these things side by side today. It might get dark on us. We've been working like crazy, but we got to get some Scania content out for you guys. So let's get started. Like I said, it boils down to us working our butts off, doing all kinds of towing today, but we need to get a really cool video out. So let's start with, a lot of people already know the Scania. Let's start with the Freightliner. This is a truck we bought a while back up in Pennsylvania. This is the latest body style of an Argosy. Well, they actually had a little bit newer body style, but the interior, everything stayed the same. And let's just be real, this is the latest and greatest cabover I've ever had here in the USA. So we're gonna talk about this one, and it's for sale if anyone's interested in buying this thing. 25 smackaroonies, doll hairs, 25,000. This thing could be yours. So this thing's a 2007 Freightliner Argosy. Batteries are probably dead because someone left the key on. Oh boy, it's been hot rodded out. I mean, steps missing. It was just too cool to have a step, so it got taken off. I mean, that's just the facts of the matter. But even then, you had to step up steps right here, step here, and then get into this truck. But this thing has a 14-liter Detroit, 10-speed straight cut transmission, and some big meat Larry Hoovers on the back with the aluminum fifth wheel we put on this thing originally. Now, 14-liter Detroit, that's like one of the best, well, the Detroit 60 series was one of the best engines ever come around, I think, you know, depending on your opinion. But it was around for quite a while, from the early 90s all the way up till, gosh, 2009, somewhere in there, 2008, 2009. This engine was on the road and trucking here in the USA. Now, this thing has got some really sweet features. It comes with a relay, a random relay hanging below the dash. You didn't see that. We're just gonna tuck it up in there, maybe. Now it might start, it might not. Oh, it started. We're gonna let this thing build air pressure for a minute, but it does have one really similar thing to our new Scania right here. Once it gets dark here in a couple minutes, we're gonna pull both these trucks inside and continue this here video.
All right, for everybody wondering, we got Bruce here about to show us the correct way to get into this. Limber up, old man. You're 30 now.
Hear them pops?
I do.
All right, so you gotta pick your poison. You just go real quick. What by him? Just like that. And that's how you get in this here hot rod. Now this thing's 14 liters of nothing but pure Detroit American horsepower.
How much horsepower you got?
What? Now something that's real similar to this in the Scania there, it has an air actuated adjustable steering wheel, right? Now, this is probably one of the only things I've ever seen in an American truck that's similar to the European truck, right? Because the Scania has got an air actuated, well, I'm skipping ahead. So, oh. So air actuated steering wheel, manual transmission. Now with a brand new Scania, no more manual transmission unless you custom convert it. So we got this thing here on the left called a clutch pedal. Now there's not much, I mean there's a lot of space in here. It is a day cab. There's a lot more space inside of it than you think when you look at it from the outside, right? I mean, it looks pretty tight. This thing, believe it or not, has air ride seats in it. Now, a look inside the truck. This thing has got some classic glass lens LEDs. It even has a fan that sometimes works whenever those hot days come around. It's got that 2-speed activato in there. This thing even has, you flick this switch, and I think more lights come on somewhere. I don't know. It's got a Pennsylvania CB holder license plate up there. This thing does have all kinds of gauges up here. So you're going to see all the differences between this thing and the Scania over there in just a second. That passenger seat, unfortunately, is not air ride. So something a little different there. We got some extra little 12-volt plugs right down here. Standard, not standard. 10-speed transmission. Now, this transmission, honestly, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either, right? So it's cable operated, so you got to be just on the money, depending on where you're shifting at, to make sure you really nail that gear you want to be into, or you're going to miss it. Just being frank here. Other than that, I mean, this thing's ahead of its time. You get that right there, it pops out every now and then. Don't worry about that, right? I mean, would you drive it? You just can't get in it.
Get in it, yeah, probably.
So, did I scare you?
No,
yeah,
I'm not Ryan.
So, from the inside of this truck, I mean, horsepower, it's definitely not as fast as our Scania over there, but this is the latest Cabover technology we've ever had here in the USA. And I think that kind of gives a lot of people a bad taste in their mouth if they would have had to choose between this and a hooded truck where you had to climb up over a tire. Even there were steps back here.
Was.
The fastest way to get out of here is you just kind of fall out of it and your knees blow out.
My leg is broke.
And that's pretty much the interior of this here Cabover. It does have this really sweet air breather here, so that if you want to do some serious snorkeling, as long as you don't get water in that, you'd be like those guys in all these other countries, like the jungle or something, where they just dive off into the river and cross it. So, serious snorkel capabilities. This thing has got a one-of-a-kind battery toolbox here on the side. Look, it's even got the hydraulical things on there to help you not slam it. Got a battery shut-off in there. Now this thing rides like a brick house. About to put a little beep over that already if we didn't put a beep over it already. Now, airlines, something a little bit different compared to the American. Now this is what we're actually going to put on the Scania, because the way the airline system works, we're going to put these quick connects on it to hook to the American style trailer. Got pretty standard air suspension back here. Fifth wheel, pretty standard stuff. I mean, do you see any other differences between these trucks?
Well, that one has 2 big fuel tanks. This one's just got one big one.
It does have one little tiny 80-gallon tank. So we're getting better at these YouTube videos here, folks. We got to be comparing these things side by side. I mean, technically we are comparing them side by side, right? This truck has a windshield. That one has a windshield. Oh boy. But split window design here, right, folks? Now, there are some similarities, like I've said before. We've got handles right here to grab onto this thing, climb up there, clean your windshield. Now moving over here to our Big Bertha Scania, we've got handles right here also. See? This right here folds out. Did you know that? That's some pretty slick technology.
Now that's a step. That I didn't know.
Clean your windshield, clean your camera right here, and your radar system right there.
Does the whole front end open like on the black one?
The whole front end opens up, yeah.
That's a big difference, because does that one open on the front?
That one does open up, actually. Check this out. So, how are we getting too dark on our camera? We're going to pull these things inside soon. There is a latch on this thing here. So that's one side.
Apparently the ones on the Scania are easier to find.
A lot easier, if I do say. Uh-oh. I don't know where the latch is for this side. You're making me look dumb, Aaron. Why is it coming undone? Just so you folks know, this folds up so you can see your radiator. I promise, because we had to put cab mounts in this turd. Now, we still got good enough daylight on here. Now to open the front, there's a good little lever right here. All right, so it's not a trunk, it's not a frunk. To open to your front grill, you just pull that lever. It's that simple. And you can get right in here this masterpiece. And you can get right in here to look at these fans. Those are the turbinators for your air conditioner when you're sitting in traffic and your fan doesn't need to run or heat up. But look at all these hoses and stuff. I believe that this right here is your cabin air filter. Air filtrate. And it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Pop it open. I'm gonna break it. Boom. There it is right there. Now we had a long trip back from the port. Lots of salty, dirty air, snowy air. Probably should clean this thing out.
And one thing I did notice is that this actually looks somewhat organized.
It is.
Like they planned out where the pipes and everything actually go instead of just later zip tying them together.
Well, you know what I call this truck, right?
What?
This truck has been truly engineered. Now, I have to go through some training to learn how to put this box back in its place. But we're gonna get there one day. Got this truck pulled in the shop, we can really go over everything in depth and talk about just looking at the front of this truck. We need a pointer stick. We had a pointer stick last time, remember? So we've got our Hustler CB antenna pointer here. So we're gonna be pointing at a lot of different things. That didn't feel good. So notably, our Scania here has got big, I wouldn't call those fog lights. We got skylights on this thing. They point at the sky. Those are like serious spot beams on the front of this unit. We've got center spot beams, and then we have lower fog lights. Now, when you're driving this thing, you can turn all of these on at once, fog lights, and we heard through the grapevine, comment down below, that we can reprogram this so that they all turn on high beams, low beams, everything. So when you queue up that high beam, it is bright, like really bright. Now, big one-piece windshield. This thing has a radar and a front camera for seeing the vehicles in front of you. This truck right here, we haven't even gotten to the technology. How did we almost forget about that? Two-piece windshield. We've got some watermelon lights. We've got a big chrome visor on it. We've got some marker lights that kind of look funny. We got Halo aftermarket Amazon special 8-inch projector high beams on here. Now, notably, no fog lights. That's something pretty serious to point out. We've got some side marker lights that look like they're probably off of a boat. We've got some really nice side marker lights right here on the Scania. Also, down the side of it. So lighting, pretty serious on here. We got some lights on the back of the cab. These are your pretty standard 4-inch flush mount LED lights here in the USA. On the back here, we've got a really cool stainless center panel with some reverse lights and brake lights. Now, pretty standard equipment here on this 2006 truck. A lot of the lights on here are what would have come on probably around like 2014, 2015 area. Now, looking at the back of our Scania, we have what we Americans call Euro style taillights. These are actually pretty slick. Should I turn them on for the folks? All right. Something else that we forget about in this truck that's I don't know, in the future, we've got a button where I can turn the lights on with a key fob. So see that right there? You've got really cool lights on the back of this thing. Turn signals, everything fully integrated, LED into the back taillights of this truck. And your tag light. Very nice. You can see our side marker lights all lit up. We also have a rear load lamp. That's probably what these would have been from the factory, but someone went ahead and put some amber lights on there to change them out and try to make them look cool. Being that this truck is a day cab, it doesn't have, what am I thinking?
Gotta
have the side storage. This thing has a big side storage box. Now, in the few weeks coming up, we're going to be comparing this truck to our flat top Peterbilt, brand new truck versus brand new truck. But today we're comparing cabovers. Now, day cab cabover, 0 storage. Sleeper cabover, we got a freaking 50 gallons of storage in there. That's a lot of space. Stepping up into the truck, you know, quite a bit different, right? We've already went over the steps. Now, something I want to point out compared to your traditional classic American cabovers that have normal steps, unlike the Argosy here, these steps, Argosy don't got that, does it? No. There's a dang V8 logo on the floor. Now, these steps don't go straight up. So traditionally, like on blue collar or cabover, you were stepping up, holding on for dear life, hoping you weren't going to fall over, right? You had to step up and then in. These steps transition so they're further out. So they go from out, in, and then in. So you're gradually moving towards the truck with both handles right there. Really easy to get to. You may think, there's no way in heck I want to be driving an old cabover down the road and having to climb up in this thing every time. Folks, when we compare this thing to the new Peterbilt, you're going to see that that's the same amount of steps it takes to get into a Peterbilt. So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this truck's perfect, because just like this thing not having any steps, our Scania here has some steps that are pretty much useless. Now, this thing has the what's called 2.3 meter cab. So usually you grab this right here, this air deflector, and fold it forward, okay? Let's go show the folks on our black truck. So, like I was telling you, the air deflector without the 2.3 meter cab folds forward, and these steps that cover your batteries, which, don't look at that. You can step up onto the center of the chassis and fold that back. New Scania with the bigger cab, these steps kind of step to nowhere. You're no stepping. But that may have been a spec up, as we call it. A spec up. When I spec this thing, they said, Bruce, just have at it, do your thing. I may have spec'd up and having these steps still be here when you kind of have a hard time stepping anywhere. Now, you can still step up here and get access everything, but they are slightly inconvenient. So, I can't really think of anything that's wrong with this truck. What do you see? Anything? If you have to think about it for more than 5 seconds,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty dang nice unit here. Now, what I really like, here's your washer fluid reservoir. Right there, when you go to get in the truck, you open the door. Oh, dang, I need some washer. Right there. Now, son, the washer fluid reservoir on this, don't even ask me where it's at, because we can't even get the hood to open on this thing.
The frill.
It used to be right here, it's broke off. We still can't find it. Maybe by the end of the video, we'll find it, but it's missing. Something else to note, mirrors. We've got one big conveyed mirror here, and we've got mirrors here, so let's, doesn't work. Okay, so come back here, cameraman. Now on these mirrors right here, you've got your spot mirror, which is a conveyed round mirror. We've got a big flat mirror, the main mirror up top. This one we have the main mirror down below, which is a conveyed mirror, if I'm saying that correctly, and a spot mirror up top. These are both power and heated. Fancy dancy stuff. These, we don't know. Probably not power, definitely not heated.
I noticed one thing.
What's that?
This one does have a single power window.
It does.
For the passenger side.
Because you don't want to lean over to the window while driving, so power window on the passenger side.
But still a big old crank on the left side.
Manual on the other side, and we have a non-air ride seat. That's like a school bus seat right there. Oh, I got a big one for you. Are you ready? Say, dang, my engine's leaking some motor oil, and I got to get underneath here. Well, you know what? You got to lift the cab up. How do you do that on this truck, right, Aaron? Almost called you Ryan.
It's a big jack.
You got a manual cab jack 'em up 'em. This one is from the future. You come right here, open this thing up. You open this side skirt up right here, and you hit this. Now, this thing is slick. You guys seen it in the last video? You press a button, this thing, whoop, then you get in there and fix your oil leaks. Now, this here Scania, never any oil leaks ever. Talk about some exhaust systems, right? We got the snorkel on this thing for some serious off-road. We've got a gigantic stainless polished muffler. Now this thing, being the year it is, and the engine's got, is no emission system, so no diesel exhaust fluid. That is how this truck from 2007, old and a half, is getting ahead of our 2025 Scania here, which this one has the diesel exhaust fluid. There's been lots of comments surrounding, well, this truck doesn't have this, doesn't have that, it has this, has that. Well, this one does have a diesel exhaust fluid system. It does not have an EGR, and it does not have a VGT turbo, variable geometry turbo. Now, our Freightliner here has an EGR cooler on it, and an EGR, exhaust gas recirculation. So, how does a truck that's from 2007 have this emissions technology, and this truck doesn't? Well, this truck right here was at the very beginning of the emissions pandemic, I like to call it, where they're trying to figure out how to make that tailpipe a lot cleaner. Well, what did they think? Let's take this dirty exhaust and put it right back in our engine and make it breathe its own fart. Now, Scania's like, how about instead of doing that, we take and make our engines have more horsepower, run much cleaner by raising the compression ratio and burning and incinerating every ounce of fairy dust diesel. So, what Scania has done is they have a side exit exhaust, which we opted for when I spec'd it. I said, hey, I want that really sick side exit exhaust, which we can also, if I want to, put stacks on it because of the way it's designed. So we have an SCR system here, which still helps clean the exhaust before it comes out and helps oxidize the pollutants coming out of the tailpipe. I may have said all that wrong, but I said a little bit of it right, I'm positive. So disc brakes on this thing all the way around, which, I'm sorry, drum brakes all the way around. Disc brakes weren't really a thing back in the day. This thing has disc brakes all the way around, has ABS, anti-lock braking system. Pretty top of the line compared to our 2007 truck. And now that we're on the braking system, let's talk about safety. You know, ABS is pretty good product when it works really well. This truck, you are truly first on the accident scene. If you get in an accident with this thing, it's not looking too good. It could be pretty bad. Now, our Scania over here is quite a bit taller, and this thing has what's called active braking. So, if you get a little too close to someone, this thing will help you slam on them brakes. Also, with that radar system, it has, what's the thing called where if you're on it on cruise control, it'll slow down and speed up for you?
LiDAR?
Has radar.
LiDAR, where it comes.
I think we don't know what we're talking about either. Someone can comment
There's
down
laser
below.
radar is what it is, so it can actually tell the difference
So
in
if
how
you've
far you
got
are.
a cruise control set on 70 and someone in front of you is doing 65, you come up on them, it will actually slow down for you and maintain a safe distance. Lane keep assist. Holy crap, this thing is insane. You hit a button on the dash, you're driving down the road, you start maybe snoozing a little bit, you start going to one side, the steering wheel, whoop, it'll pull you back to center. So this thing has a motor on the steering pump, which you can't really see, but on the steering gearbox that will pull you back to center to keep you in the center lane. So shouldn't rely on that for driving safely, but it is a really handy tool to keep you from running off the road and getting hurt. Now, this thing has something that pretty much almost zero new manufacturers of trucks here in the USA have. Airbags. And a lot of you may be like, well, I don't want no airbag mops in my truck. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I tell you what, guys, if you get in a really bad accident, you're going to want an airbag in that steering wheel to keep your face from going through the windshield, no matter what kind of truck you're driving. This truck also has curtain airbags, so if you were going to lay this thing over on the side, keep from bebopping your head on that window there, curtain airbag just come down and save you. So airbag system inside this truck to save your butt if you're gonna decide to lay it over one day.
Cabovers is typical for the long haulage segment.
So before we move inside of the truck and show you all the technological advances this truck has, if you want to order this truck from the factory, you can order it with a shutoff switch right here. Now, you know when it's on or off because the way this cover covers it up right there. Check that out. See that? But turn it off and listen real quiet. By turning this thing off, it deactivates a bunch of solenoids, and when you turn it back on, powers everything back up. So, turn that thing off, and virtually there's no power in the whole truck, other than right there at that switch. This truck, on the other hand, we've added the fella I bought it from added a power on and off switch. For some reason, a lot of American trucks, even our tow truck, the batteries just randomly go dead for fun, and make you have to buy new ones. Now this one had one added inside of here with our battery pack. And you can see you got to reach all in here about breaking back. Boom, turn it off, and then boom, turn it back on. So that's what it takes to turn the power on and off in this truck. Now, if you want to tow one of these things down the road, something breaks down, you're like, dang. You got to put air in the system because you know you got to have air to release your brakes. Well, there's no easy way to do it other than to take one of these pipe plugs out, feed an air line in there, and air it up. Scania's a little different. You have a cover right there where you can add air to the system. Right next to your on and off switch, another access point right there. So by adding air right there, it airs the whole entire truck up completely. Now with us doing towing and things like that, these trucks sort of come to the USA. That is the cat's meow right there. Down, I mean, hands in your hand of your hand's pocket hand here, you've got this really sick remote, right? Now imagine, you gotta have the key on, that always helps. You're outside your truck. You back your truck up to the trailer, you're like, dang, it's not high enough, or dang, it's not low enough. Well, and this here truck, you gotta climb all the way up in here with no steps, get on the dash, flick a switch to drop your air suspension. With our Scania here, you pull out your handy dandy remote, and you press this button right here, okay? And you can pick up that suspension. Go back there and watch this. This stuff goes way up. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
Dude, that's the real deal, okay? Now, you press one button, then it goes right back down to normal. It takes a second because you got lots of air pressure in there. Now come up here to the front. This is probably the coolest thing. We love slamming the bumpers on the ground, right? We like dropping these trucks down low. Press this button right here, control the front. Dude. Look at that. And I hear there's aftermarket kits where you can like drop these things completely on the ground. But as you say, like, dude, there's a huge speed bump when you gotta go over, right? Like a really big speed bump. Watch this. All right, so we need a measuring tape. I'm gonna go get one because we're gonna use a water bottle for reference, okay? We're gonna put that bottle right there next to this bumper. Now, we're gonna pick this thing up. Are you ready? Big speed bump in mind, all right? Remember that. With the remote. Tell me this is not the coolest thing. It's still going. Still going. It's still going. It's still going. You can pretty much stack 2 water bottles on top of themselves on this thing. This thing has serious off-road capabilities. Right here, pick the back of this thing up too. I think we're out of air pressure. We've been playing around. Yeah, we're out of it. We got the red light of death. Yep, we're out of air pressure. Usually you do this with a truck running, but we wanted to. I say, look how much higher this thing is, dude. It's so. I was able to reach the key a second ago and turn it on. All right, you heard how loud our Detroit was right there in that old truck, right? Careful now, we can't have a conversation because this thing's way too loud. And this thing looks like it's just some tooted semi. Shoot. Lifted. Now, we'll go ahead and drop this thing back down to your normal ride height. So it's just a matter of pressing a button, and it goes down. Just like that. So this thing can drop all the way back down to your pre-programmed drive height. Now something else really cool. We've got 2 drive axles back here. One drives, one doesn't. So you hit your power divider and then they both activate and drive, okay? This truck is the same way. You've got one drive axle and one that kind of floats around until you need it. But the difference with this one is you can hit one switch and it does something magical. And why it does something magical is it saves lots of fuel. Now, if you blinked, you probably missed it. And I'm serious. See those airbags right there? Those things are hard as a rock. And you know why? It's still doing its thing. This thing is fully automated to where if you say, hey, you know what? I'm just bobtailing, or I've got an empty trailer, or even if you have a somewhat light load, okay? You can pick this axle up that usually drives, okay? There is zero technology like this in the USA. Zero. They have lift axles, but not a drive lift axle. So you can pick that axle up. That is a drive axle. I need to make that very clear. And drive down the road just like a 4x2 truck. So really cool technology on the outside of this truck when it comes to drivetrain and the air. That's why this thing has quite a few air tanks on it. Quite a few air tanks. Now let's go inside the truck.
You even imported a coffee maker with this, Bruce?
Now, to point out the obvious, all right, this thing has a factory option coffee maker. We're yet to make coffee, but you can bet your butt we're gonna be making coffee in this thing soon. I mean, it's got the, oh my gosh. We've got navigation. If we were in Europe, we can navigate Europe. We're gonna find a way to put you can hit one button, one of these buttons. That button right there turns on every light in the truck. So lots of really nice technology. Electric over hydraulic steering assist, so you can turn this thing with your index finger, nothing crazy. It's really, really simple. Lots of technology in this truck. Really nice infotainment system here. Bluetooth, and what's crazy, and we'll go over this when we compare it to our brand new Peterbilt out there, is the Pete has Bluetooth connectivity for you to talk on your phone. But you cannot hear anything the person is saying while they're driving because the speaker's over here or the microphone's over here and you just can't hear anything. This one, I believe the mic is right up in here somewhere. Now, there's something else I wanted to talk about. This truck is pre-wired for a CB radio. We have to figure that out still and get one put in here, but dual climate control, heated and cooled seats. We've got a factory refrigerator right here. Check that out. We could have got a factory microwave had we opted for the S-Cab, and the reason we didn't get the S-Cab was because we had to have pre-approved trip permits to drive this truck on public roads while it's here in the USA. So we want to be able to not be limited by that. I want to be able to put this thing on our lowboy, our drop deck, and haul it places and do things with it. So that's why we got a little bit lower cab. We do have some really fancy lighting. All of our lighting is controlled over here on the door. Now, if you come right over here, we can turn all of our lights back to normal, and we can turn on our mood lights. See that? Look at that. Ooh, did I do it wrong? There you go, check that out. Now this other button controls your feet. Look at the feet. See them down there? That's pretty cool, look at that. So you got mood lighting, you've got what's called a map light right up there. Lots of other options for, we can tilt that open for our sunroof. Now this is not a sunroof, this is technically an escape hatch. It's required by the everywhere but here in the USA. So if you lay this thing over, more safety, you can actually kick that out and crawl out the top of the truck. So curtain airbags we're talking about are all over here on the sides of it. Every video we're gonna make of this truck, guys, I'm gonna show there's so many things I'm learning. I wanna keep showing you different things about this truck. It's just awesome. I'm really happy and thankful to have this truck here. So Yeah. Look at that. That's cool. V8 logo in the back with the red on it. That's pretty cool. An actual comfortable bed.
What's the phone looking thing in the back there?
That's so you can talk on the phone. I don't know. I haven't messed with it yet.
Features yet to be known.
There's lots of features on this. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna break it. Oh, there we go. You pull it at the top. So, this is like a control. So you can control the AC and heat, radio, different things like that. While you're back here sleeping, you don't have to get up and go over here to do something. So, pretty cool. Now, Aaron had a really good point. Which door do we start with? Let's talk about how nice these doors close, okay?
We gotta start with the one that's not so good.
Hear that? Sounds like the door is about to fall off. Okay. This one, that wasn't like a hard slam. That was just normal, okay? Now let's just show people how easy this thing closes, okay? Let's start here. This one probably won't close. Ready? Just a little, just a normal little, just go ahead and close. So it didn't close all the way. It just popped back open. Now this guy, this is a semi-truck. This isn't a car. It's crazy. Ready?
And it's a massive
Watch
door.
this. First try, no cuts. All right.
He did say first try.
Ready? It's because it's so brand new. Everything's nice and tight still. Now that was the passenger door too. I bet the driver's door on this thing is worn slap out, like totally clap. Okay, never mind. We're gonna cut this from the video.
It's worn in.
It's worn in. That's why it closed so easy. But guys, that's pretty much a wrap for the video. I mean, we've compared as much as we can that you guys don't already know from watching the videos of this new truck against right next door, right in the park next to it, a
Freightliner.
Freightliner Argosy Cabover. Newest model, you know, technology we have here in America for Cabover. So obviously years and years and years advanced. I want to tell you guys about a date though. If you all want to see this truck in person, we're going to be stopping at the Iowa 80 truck stop, the world's largest truck stop, December 16th, next Monday. We plan on being there, hopefully is the plan to be at that truck stop between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So if you want to see the Scania, we will be there with it December 16th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you come and see the truck. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be headed on our way this Sunday. I'm pulling out and headed towards Iowa Customs. We're gonna be doing some really cool customization on the truck. I've listened and read everyone's comments. We're not gonna be messing with the side skirts. It was just a thought. You know, don't strike me down. We're gonna be putting a deck plate inside there, and it's kind of like, you know, a lot of the European customization guys, they put deck plates from here all the way across. We're just gonna be putting one right here inside the frame, making a rear center panel and doing some other just little things, nothing crazy. We still want to showcase the technology that's in this truck, but at the same time, we want to make it look something a little bit more than, you know, factory stock. So I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase what Iowa Customs can do to a European truck. They'll be the first company in America to customize a next-gen Scania. So huge shout out to those guys. If you don't know who they are, look them up on Facebook and Instagram, Iowa Customs. But that's a wrap, guys. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe. If you want to see more videos of the Scania, we'll be at Iowa 80 truck stop next Monday, 10 to 2 p.m. Comment down below. Love reading all your comments.